Now, before starting to build the next panel in our list, the images panel, we need some images to play with. So I set up for you two images, one for smile and one for sad. And the first thing to note is that we need to create a folder under the source main resources, and let's call it images. Don't worry, I will provide you both the sad and the smile images to work on this project with them. So this being said, let's create the next panel in our list. So I set up a class called images panel. This class will need to be also annotated with a component so that it will be picked up by the Spring container. And same to the empty panel, we need to extend the J panel. Let's remove these comments. We'll need to set up a list of G labels. Let's call it images list. This will be used in order to store our images. Now we will create a simple constructor called images panel, of course, and the method that will be annotated with a post construct so that it will be invoked automatically by Spring in order to set up all the properties for our images panel. The first thing will be to instantiate the images list as an array list. And also set the preferred size to 100 and 100 as a dimension object for our JPanel. Let's fix this since it's not called images, it's actually the images list. Okay. Let's set a specific background color for our panel as white. And we will also set a specific layout as grid layout with 5 rows and 1 column. Let's set up some space here. Now I would like to do a for loop from starting from 0 to 4 inclusive, so less than 5, and we'll create a J label. Imagine that we need to store 5 images. So we created some simple objects for our J label. Let's also go to the Hangman game util and create a simple helper. Since I would like to store some references to both smile and sad images under this helper class, So I annotated this class with component, and let's set up some simple image icons. So this will be an image icon that will have a reference to the smile image. So we need to create an image icon, and we'll use the helper class get class loader, get resource, and if you recall, we set up the image under the images smile JPG. And let's also do something similar with the sad image. New image icon, the same process, helper class get class loader, get resource, images, now sad.png. So we have a reference to both these images. And now let's go to the images panel, and over here, as a parameter to the JLabel constructor, we can actually use the reference to the helper smile image, since by default our images will have the smile corresponding type set to them, and get image. But you see that we receive an error, so we need to somehow transform this reference to a specific format that the JLabel will actually be able to properly use. In order to do this, let's create a simple method that will return an image icon, and let's call it scale, that will receive the image source as a reference, and basically from this image source, from this image, it will return an image icon. We'll set the width and height to properties to 50. Another variable for the type, and the type will be buffer image type int RGB. And now let's create a buffered image called DST from the destination. New buffer image that will receive the width 50, height 50, and the type as the type int RGB. We'll need to use the graphics 2D, and based on the buffered image destination, we'll invoke the create graphics method. Now we will be able to draw an image from the graphics 2D object, and will be the source 0, 0, the width, height, and this. And we'll also need to invoke the dispose method on the graphics 2 object. And as a final step, we can return the image icon from this method. So over here, we just need to use the scale method, and you see that the issue has been fixed, and that JLabel will actually point to a image icon for the smile image. And we need to also add the image label to the images list. Let's format a bit the code. Okay. And let's go back to the Hangman frame, since we already have this images panel in place. Let's inject it using the auto wired annotation. Private images panel, and similar to the empty panel, you can add it to the main panel. This main panel add images panel, and we'll use the border layout as for east. So this will be stored in the right part of the screen. Let's start the application. And you can see that the images panel has been set up. Let's close this instance. And let's move this console to the bottom of the screen.